Hello everyone. In today's session we are going to see how we can add RAM metering in our simple network. So in the last session we saw how to make a simple model at the OPT environment, and we are going to continue with the same model. So first we are going to open project and we select our simple network. As we see, this is our network that we used in our last tutorial. Just as a reminder, we are going to run the simulation. So again, we see the total VMT, VHT, the delay, and the time series for each individual segment, and of course the aggregate delay on each one. And on the route that we created, here we can see our contour plot, and right here we can see the bottleneck, which is due to the fact that we have a lane drop. Over here, and we had like 4 lanes, and here a lane drop, and we have only three lanes. So we are going to introduce now RAM metering. So we are going to introduce controllers in order to reduce practically the flow of vehicles that enters our system. And we have 2 on-ramps. The first on-ramp is right here, and the second on-ramp is this one. So we are going to limit the number of vehicles that are entering there, so in order to reduce the queue that is generated from the bottleneck. So first, let's go to the first on-ramp, and we are going to select RAM metering, and we click Add Controller, and we select. We have 2 options practically, the alinea and the fixed rate. So in this tutorial we are going to use the fixed rate. So we click here fixed rate, and we can set the start time. So we are going to set the start time at 4, and the metering rate to be about for 300. Let's set it about 300. And here is the invocation period. We can of course use queue control or not. Queue control is practically when we have a queue and reaches at the end of the ramp. If it exceeds a certain density, then the rate of the controller is going to be the one that we are going to set, or that we can set here. However, for the sake of this lesson, we are not going to introduce a queue control. So in order to keep it as simple as possible, so we keep here the metering rate at 300, and we click OK. So we have a RAM metering from 4 until the end, and we are going to remove the RAM metering from 7. So we are going to have from 4 until 7, and from 7 it's going to be open. We do something similar as well on the second on-ramp. So again, we used fixed rate. Click OK, and we are going to set start time at 4, and here I'm going to introduce 250 as metering rate, and we click OK. Open from 7. So there we are. So now that we have set our controllers, we can go here and just simply click Run Simulation, and we'll let the simulation to run. Now that the simulation is complete, we can go to our route, and we can see that our queues have significantly been reduced compared to the last scenario where we didn't have any RAM meter. So now it's only this part compared to the last one. Before it was extending about until here. So we can see how easily we can introduce RAM meters and we can evaluate how effective they were or not. Of course, we can go here and we can go anytime and change the starting time. For example, I can set it at 5 and perhaps increase this and do something similar as well here. For example, here I'm going also to set a Q override, so I'm going to set it about 450, for example, and click Q control, this one, and then I'm just going to run the simulation. And we can see that, of course, now since I increased the rate on the ramp, the bottleneck has increased compared to the previous scenario, and of course that was expected. Here we can see the queue on the ramp, and of course, here you can see the flow as it was set. Our RAM meter was set from 4, so we can see here it was reduced at the rate that we set it, but then the Q override hits, and we have this phenomenon. Well, here that we didn't introduce a Q override, it was more consistent, as we see here. It was at the rate that we set it. However, due to the lack of the Q override, we have an increase of the number of vehicles. If I introduce here a Q override and I set it to be this one at say 400, 500, just to be sure, and we click run simulation. We can see, of course, that now we have a much larger bottleneck, because here was the main bottleneck practically, and we can see now that the number of vehicles on the queue has been reduced significantly. However, also we can see that our flow here has increased. Of course, we set the queue override to be at 500, but the demand on that ramp never really exceeded the 350, so that's the maximum approximately that it can reach. It won't reach the 500. So this is a comprehensive session regarding the controllers and the RAM metering specifically. I hope that was helpful for you, and thank you for watching this video.